Hey, Paul, this would be a really good place to start. Hi, everybody. My name is Hirsch. Welcome to TalkHotRods.com. Again, today we're at Hahn Vorbach in Harmony, PA, and we're working on episode 3 of their collector car quick tips series. And we started with episode 1 that had to do with the hobby, the lifestyle. Then Bill and Paul helped us to learn the ratings, how to classify and value a collector car. That was episode 2. And today, episode 3, Bill and Paul are going to help us find a car. It's coming up next. This episode of Hahn and Vorbach's Collector Car Quick Tips is presented by Rivstar Car Care Products. Treat your car to Rivstar.
Well, hi everyone, and as Hirsch said, we're going to speak about how to acquire a car for your collection. It might be your first car, it might be one you're adding, but there are numerous ways in which you can go about obtaining a car. One way, of course, is to inherit a car. If you have one in your family, something that's been there for a long time, it might have belonged to an uncle, a grandfather, something near and dear to your heart, well, that's a very good way of getting a car that you can work with. Now, if you need to go out and start purchasing something, you can certainly look on eBay or autotrader.com for a lot of various cars that are out there, something collectible. But do your homework on those first. Really learn about the car, learn about the valuations, and learn about everything you can about it, because, you know, there are some bargains, but there are also a lot of pitfalls. Now, from a magazine perspective, you could go to Hemmings Motor News, which has been tried and true for years. A lot of collectors have always looked in Hemmings as a source for getting a car. Or the Auto Trader magazine, which kind of speaks to cars maybe more in your region. Now, a little step up would be a magazine such as Sports Car Market or the DuPont Registry. Now, DuPont has got a lot of exotic cars out there. Sports Car Market, they show a lot about the valuation, but the advertisers in there are often businesses that specialize in collector cars and the sale of them and the trading of them. And so they know the cars well, but again, keep in mind, these are people in the business of buying and selling cars. And that's their business. They are used car salesmen. Nothing wrong with that. They know their product well, but they are looking to sell a car. Now, one tip we've got for you is through a club. Speak to a club. If you're interested in a particular mark or make or model, often there's a club available that can help you with that. Go and talk to the club. They may know of a car within their club that's available. They may know of a car outside of their club that's kind of a sleeper. Nobody knows about it. They do, and they could pass it on. And finally, the real tip is to speak with a restoration professional. We have this car. It's a beautiful 1988 Mercedes-Benz 560 SL. We know it's for sale. It belongs to a customer of ours. This is a kind of car, these are beginning to appreciate in value. This car is available for under $25,000. The only thing against this particular car is that it has a little bit of high mileage, but we've been through the entire car. It's a beautiful machine, runs well, really good. We know it. We're not in the car buying and selling business, so we don't have anything to gain so much by that. So we can give you a pretty fair evaluation of a car like this. And this is a way of getting started in the hobby with something that you can just pick up and drive. Now, finally, there are automobiles at the other end of the spectrum, and we're aware of those too. Everything from a Mercedes Gullwing, which is a multi-million-dollar car, to something in between. And when we come back, my partner Bill Hahn is going to talk to you about just such a car.
Today's Collector Car Quick Tip is brought to you by the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix and their title sponsor, the Greater Pittsburgh Automobile Dealers Foundation.
Hey, if you're looking for a car, whether it be a high-end car or even lower end, of course, Paul mentioned about auctions. I'm not a big fan of auctions because I restore cars. And, of course, if you go to auction, you've got to be careful what you buy. because a nice shiny coat of paint can hide a lot of sins. If you go to auction, make sure that you have some money in reserve to fix things, because you're likely going to find some things that you're going to want to fix after you get the car. There is the occasional car that goes across the auction block that it was built to exacting standards, and for whatever reason the owner has to sell, perhaps for retirement or who knows. So there are cars that are very good high-end cars that do go through auctions, but it's hard to tell that. And something you might not be aware of is that quite often at an auction house you can take the car for a test drive. But we'd like to talk about the quick tip. The quick tip for finding, sourcing a collectible vehicle that a lot of people might not think of is go to a restoration shop. Because quite often at a restoration shop, there may be a car that someone can no longer afford to finish. You can pick it up. A lot of the work's been done. You may be able to pick up a car that has already been done. And once again, for whatever reason, the owner has decided to sell it, but he's not gone the route of sending it to an auction house yet. This right here is a perfect example of that. This is a resto rod. It's a 46 Chevy panel truck. It's fully custom, hand-built. It's got a custom-built frame, a 350 V8. It's got 4-wheel disc brakes by Willwood. It's got air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, AM/FM, a refrigerator even. I mean, it's got everything you could ever want in it. And, we're selling this for the customer, and it very well may not ever see an auction. So that's the quick tip for the day. Check out some restoration shops. You might be surprised what you can find for sale. Bye, folks.
Here's a recap of this episode of Finding a Project Car. Hey, you might be lucky enough to have a car in the family already. You can go online. Hemming Motor News and Auto Trader Magazine are a couple of sources, but do your homework. Magazines like Sports Car Market and the DuPont Registry are valuable sources for cars and information, too. Clubs are always a good connection into your particular car. They know their stuff. Auctions, again, do your homework. And you know Mecum, Barrett Jackson, there's a lot of auctions. Number one tip, though, go to a restoration professional. They can help you find a car and then continue to help in a lot of different areas of that project. They might even have a car available at the shop. We think this is the best way to go. Hey, thanks to Bill and Paul for this collector car quick tip. We'll be back here at Hahn and Vorbach for another quick tip on TalkHotRods.com. This is Hirsch. Thank you very much. Be careful in the hot rod.